Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our weekly check in. It is going on November 1st. The holidays are out there for you guys, for those who celebrate. And let's go ahead and kick this off. Welcome back to CG Rated Books. So, what has been going on? Well, I tell you what, this past week has been really big for the channel. Really, really big. And it's all due to my local Booktube community, my non local, uh, local Booktube community. You guys have been fabulous, have been great in showing your support and coming out and just helping me get subscribers. We started off last week with less than 100. I think we were maybe in the 70s, I think, at the time. And we are now over 130 subscribers. Woohoo! Big time, big time. That is awesome. And it's showing. I guess you guys are enjoying the material because my video viewing numbers are going up as well. I'm getting more comments and more interaction with a lot of the folks that are around, and that is just fabulous. So, thanks for all of it. It's been fantastic, and it's just going to get better. We have been growing. This past week, we have had the largest growth period, growth spurt, as you said. When you've been growing an inch at a time, next thing you know, the next growth is 5 inches. So we have really, really grown, and it's been pretty exciting. It's been very exciting. Um, but I've been kind of busy, so we've only had like about two videos out this week. The collection series. I'm going to actually continue doing that. So as I find another series, probably the kids series, then we'll talk about my search for all those. That's a large series. If anybody has seen the what was that? Was that the Booktube? That was a Booktube tag that we did last week. Uh, huge collection. The series is like 15 books long, and I'm getting words from some other readers, other booktubers that have actually read that series, and they said that it's really good. So I got a strong feeling that I'm actually going to. I've got the first two books in the collection, so I may end up redoing the collection series as a theme for the different types of books that I end up buying as I develop my new library. So um, the current one is, of course, The Great Classics for Children by Dalmatian Press. Still in the process. I've already got some more books inbound. If you've seen it, the video is up. Part two. Part three will probably be up maybe next week. We'll see. I don't know. But only got two videos up this week. Been kind of busy. So one of the things that really got me thrown off a little bit is they planted trees in my house. So, well, at the house rather. So planned community, and they haven't really finished with the development. So they planted trees on my side of the street. We got the newest homes in the neighborhood, and so they came through and decided to plant trees. But when they went into the backyard, I guess I got bedrock in the backyard because they had to get a jackhammer back there to dig a hole big enough to put the tree in. And they had to jack it all up, and so it's terrible because it looks great, but instead of hauling away all that excess rock and rubble, they used it as the garnish for the tree and then buried it uh, in mulch. So it looks like it's all mulch. It looks like it's all uh, soil, but it's not. It's like one layer of soil, and the rest of it is all rubble and rocks. And so I don't know how long that's going to last as far as looking looking decent or looking pretty. But I got trees, and they look pretty good. It's funny because the trees we're going into the fall season, so most of the trees look like they're dying. And I'm out of all the houses that receive trees, mine look the healthiest. They must have been fresh from the nursery because they got leaves and they're not blossoming, but they're flourishing. And I got one in the front yard and one in the back, so that's kind of funny. But I'd mentioned once before that I am in the process of learning the new editing software and how to do templates, and so that way my book review experience is going to be customized to my channel. So I've been working on that, but in the process of learning the software, between learning my editing software and learning the YouTube studio, I found out how I can link other videos together, put end caps at the end of the videos, and put video cards throughout the video. And so I'm learning a lot more new editing skills. So a lot of the videos that I do that tie in, like the collection series, I'll be able to add the extra videos at the end of the video. So once you finish watching one, you can click and then it'll automatically take you to the next one. So that's been pretty cool. So I'm learning new stuff, right? So that's awesome. So same with my word oddities, right? So I do the word oddities. The word oddity, I will have them linked to the book review. So once I do the book review, at the end of the book review, a video for the word oddities for that book review will show up at the end of the video. You can tap on that, whether if you're on your mobile device, or click on it, whether if you're on your computer or TV, and it'll take you straight to the next video. So that's been pretty cool. And with the advice and recommendation of some of our other viewers, we are going to, I've got to finish Murder at the Book Club. So there's 2 more. I'll do the 2 together in a single video, and then there's like three videos all together that I'll have to link to the book review. But going forward, we're going to wait until we finish the book, and then we're going to do all of the word oddities for the book in a single video. So learning out how to come across them. I like the fact that I did one of them. I had all the words on the front of the video, so you can see the words, but I didn't have the information about the book. So when I do my titles and so forth, we'll do it by title, but you won't be able to see what those word oddities are until after you click on the video. So we got some compromise. We got to make some adjustments there, but I think that'll work out pretty good. So I'll be able to do the word oddities in a separate video, do the book review in a separate video, and then link them together. And then when you watch either one, you'll get the link for the other one at the end of it. So yeah. I'm not a production artist. I'm not a production student, but we getting there, right? Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And last but not least, for our channel update, we are I've added an email account. So a lot of times we do our weekly topics, and for other reasons, if you ever want to reach out to me and send an email, it's going to be in the about section, right? A little bit of effort. I won't post it, but it's on the channel. So you go to the home page and you click on the more button. It'll pop up all the additional information about the channel, and then you have to click on another button that says show or view the email address, and the email address will pop there. I'll probably more than likely put it in this description of this video so that it can be easily found for those who are actually paying attention to this video. And yeah, so when I have my weekly topics, if you guys want to add to but don't want everybody to know that you've asked a question or whatever, you can email them to me. And perhaps in the near future, we'll also have a P.O. box as well, so I can receive without having to give out my personal information. So, yeah, right? It's got to be pretty cool. So, bear with me as we make these adjustments and start growing. Oh, that's dark. Yeah. But yeah, so now we have an email address. All right. Fabulous. So I've already mentioned it. The collection, what we've already done is we did a video for part 2 of the collection series for Classes for Children collection, and we did a single Booktube tag. I have several. I'm not going to release them in bunches. I'm actually going to program it so that they'll release, so that I'll constantly have updates. So hopefully I'll have nothing less than at least 2 videos a week coming up, letting you guys know what's going on and participating in any community events, right? So book tags and the weekly check-ins every week. Then, our rip list. Let's talk about that. Moving on. Talk about the rip list. So we just finished The People of Sparks, which is book 2 of the Book of Ember series. Then we read Graceling, which is a graphic novel, and The Girl Who Owned a City, which is also a graphic novel. Those are done. Book reviews will be up hopefully pretty soon. I should start having them. You start seeing them popping up hopefully next week. Because like I said, I'm still working on that templated format. But our rip list for November, and because I'm doing it here, I don't know if I'll need to do a November, because I was going to put that on my list. If you guys want one, then yeah, I can go a little bit more in detail. But also makes it easier for you to find it, so you don't have to worry about trying to watch this whole video. But do I need to submit a separate rip list video, since I'm going ahead and including what we're doing for this week? This is going to be the November. This is what we're reading this week, but for next week. But I doubt that I'll get through these. I don't read very fast, and I've got 4 books on the list. So this is 4 books for the month of November. So we're starting off with book number 3 of the Book of Ember. This is The Prophet of Yonwood. This is book number 3. Now this one here is a little bit different. This is actually the 3rd book, but it is a prequel to the 1st book, The City of Ember. And it's actually pretty, I've read the synopsis for it. I read the summary for it. It's actually pretty interesting. Book number 2 in November Rip is The Lonely Dead by April Henry. Now this one is a little bit more out of my wheelhouse, a little spooky. I guess spooky season is almost over, but Adele, it's the 6th sense, has the ability to speak with the unalive. And she ends up coming across her ex-best friend and finds out that her friend is now dead. And she is slowly becoming the primary suspect in her best friend's death. And the best friend is giving her clues. They're communicating back and forth. Is giving her clues as to how to help her solve this case. Okay, a little bit out of my wheelhouse because it deals with the unalive. But anyway, sounds like a very interesting title. It's a short title too. It's not a very thick one, but looking forward to that. And then we have Harlan Coben's Missing You. I know that this is a more popular author, and you guys may have read this one already. I haven't read any of his novels, so we're going to find out what this one's about. And this is basically a police detective, and I don't even know really what's going on, but she ends up coming across her ex-fiance in on a dating site, Now, this has been 18 years since they've been separated and gone. She hasn't heard from this guy, and he's presenting himself as somebody other than how she knows him. And there's some mystery involved in that. And so it becomes a problem that she ends up having to deal with. And then the fourth book is going to be a graphic novel, Grand Theft Horse. This is a young lady who is a horse handler and racer, and she was hired to She breaks horses. That's what she's not a racer. She's a trainer. And she was in the process of breaking this wild horse for racing. And she's been tasked with trying to use some unscrupulous methods of making the horse win the race. And they stress the horse ends up with a fracture, hairline fracture. And she wants to nurse the horse to health. And the owners of the horse end up firing her and then end up replacing her, and then end up, because this horse can move, and ends up wanting to put the horse back on the track after drugging it up. And it's going to hurt the horse and probably end up leading to his demise. So instead of allowing that to happen, she steals the horse. So, yeah, right? Yeah. That's a graphic novel. This one is written by Neri. Neri. Wilkins. Is it Wilkins? Wilkin. Wilkin is the illustrator. So that is our November rip list. And of course, we're going to start with, I've never done this. I'm moving into book number 3 of a 4-book series. Look at that. Look at what I'm doing. Book number 3 of a 4-book series. I'm actually doing it, right? I say that as if I've never done it before. I've done it at least once. The Viking series with, I can't even remember his name, Severin. That was a historical novel, historical fiction. That was a big trilogy that I read, and but out of 300-400 books that I've read, I don't know how many have actually been in the series. I probably can count them on one hand, and this is going to be one of them. So we're getting into that one, and this one actually was in hardback. This is the first hardback copy of the series that I've gotten. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So, that is what we've got. Moving on to the next. That's the rip list for this current November. And what is happening? We don't have a whole lot of activities going up for the channel. No channel updates as far as knowing what's up, except for the fact that we've got more tag videos coming. We've got the Bookish Texas event calendar. I'm going to do that separately. We're going to do Bookish Texas for the current week, but I'm going to do another one that's going to make an announcement for the entire month of November. For all of those of you who like to plan, we got a lot of big stuff. We're coming up to the end of the year, and so there's a lot of big events coming up. And I'm pretty sure that if you are really into doing stuff and planning stuff, there might be a couple of things in there that you might want to get your families together and go out and have some fun together with. So we are going to do the Bookish Texas events for the month of November. So we'll get that out to you. We're more than likely it's going to happen next week. And let me know about the November rip list if you guys want that. I can give you a more in-depth synopsis summary for these, and maybe even depending on how this week ends up, I may end up adding a book, because I'm scheduling my days a lot better, so it makes it a lot easier for me to get more reading in, and yeah, feeling a little bit more purposed in my reading schedule. So, okay, so what's next? Those are the videos upcoming. So, on to Bookish Texas for the current week. Lots of good stuff. Of course, don't forget that the South Texas Book Festival is still ongoing. That is in McAllen, Texas. That is all the way through the rest of the weekend. Today is going into the 1st, and then Saturday's the 2nd. So all the way through Saturday, the South Texas Book Festival in McAllen, Texas. And then the next is, now this one's pretty, I don't even know how to pronounce this, but the Dobie Ditches, that is happening Friday night. That's happening tonight in Oakville, Texas. This is pretty cool because this is a big outdoor event, campfire, chili con carne, and the words of J. Frank Dobie. J. Dobie is a what do you call it? A writer, but he's a big advocate for literature in the area. Father was an author, and son is hosting these in Dobie Teaches. It'll be listed in the description. And that is happening in Oakville, Texas. And it's open to the public, if I remember correctly. Is it? I can't see. No, it is a ticketed event. It's a ticketed event. But there are some tickets that are still, it's short notice, which is one of the reasons why we're going to do the Bookish November list for the month next week. Hopefully I'll have that out by Wednesday. But yes, that looks very, very interesting. So you've got writers and musicians. It's going to be an outdoor event, campfire, chili, and literature, right? So that's a big, it looks pretty cool. They got pictures all up too on the website. So that's, if I had been a little bit more on my P's and Q's, that might have been so. Unfortunately, I do work Friday nights, so but it could have been something I could have would have been interested in, taking a date out or something. If somebody, it's definitely a literary book bud type event, and yeah, it looks a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm like I said, I'm out there looking at the videos, the pictures that they got posted for the event. It's not very expensive. Hold on, let me see if the cost for the tickets are up here. It's $25. And there's an event list. Yeah. So it looks like it's ongoing though. It says it's maybe it starts on the 1st, because the scheduling is showing something for the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, all in Oakville. So that might be, yeah. Guys, you gotta look this up. That's interesting. That looks like fun. Campfire, chili, and literature. Yeah, that's a Texas thing. That's gotta be great. Okay, so that's in Oakville, and then we've got the Mex Americon, the Comic Con in Austin, and this is the Comics Culture Community event. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on down there in Austin, in the Pan Am Rec Center, Austin, Texas. Pan Am Rec Center. and it starts Saturday at 2 p.m. And it doesn't look like this event. Yeah, it's free. It's free for all ages. Now, this is mostly a comic con, but yeah, Mexi American Comic Con, and that's in Austin on Saturday. And then, what? Where am I? Excuse me, I got lost. Oh, okay. The Jewish Book and Arts Festival, that's in Houston, Texas. This is an ongoing thing. This is a 14-day event at least. The Kaufman Jewish Book and Art Festival in Houston, Texas. And this event doesn't say. There's no required registration. It is open to the public, but it doesn't say if there's a door charge. So the Anne and Stephen Kaufman Jewish Book and Arts Festival in Houston, Texas from November 3rd all the way through November 16th. So this is supposed to be just the week, this weekend, from Friday to Friday, so that you guys can have, the weekly check-in, give you something more to talk about, give you a big reminder next week of what's coming up, right? So there's that. I don't have any additional more information about this, nor where it's located. I'm not sure why they didn't put where it's located, but the Indie Author Day is November 4th. I don't know why I didn't just Google that earlier. And that's part of what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So, excuse me. I'm looking at where it might be located. Yeah, there's no still. Oh, TBD. It's listed for the 4th, but all the additional information is to be determined. So they're still waiting on it. I don't even know what location it is. I guess that's part of the notification. You can go out there. If you Google it, they'll put a notification. They'll send you. You just register for notification, and they'll send information as soon as it's available. Yeah, I should have noticed that before. And then the last one for this week is the Flair Symposium. And the Flair Symposium is going to be in Austin, Texas as well. Quite a few things here in Austin. But it's literature and change. It is a symposium, right? So it's not just your common book thing. This is more about literature and how it's affected the culture, right? So if you're interested in stuff like that, that's going to be coming up in Austin, Texas, and that's going to be from the 7th through the 9th. My list for Bookish Texas this week is from the 1st to the 8th. So I'm including it because it starts on the 7th, but it doesn't end until the 9th, which is next Saturday. So that's an ongoing thing, and more information is available. I think it's being sponsored by UTA, actually. Admission is free at the Harry Ransom Center, so you don't have to be a student. There will be exhibitions Tuesday, Saturday through Sunday. So during that symposium, there'll be an exhibition room that you can go ahead and visit as well. And that is my list for Bookish Texas. Well, I hope that's helpful for you guys. I hope you guys find stuff that you like to do. And with that, we're going to move on to our weekly topic. Weekly topic for this week is the behavior of a book browser, right? specific type of book reader, right? Which is what I am. And this channel is about my reading experiences and my preferences and sharing them with you. And so we're going to talk about the differences of a book browser from other types of readers. Did you know that they classify us? Did you know that they've categorized readers? Wow, right? So let's talk about it, right? I was first asked to express and elaborate on my thoughts on what it means to be a book browser, right? And so basically, it just means that I prefer a specific type of book, but not just a specific type of book or non-specific type actually, but a specific type of way of finding it through physical location. Not actually searching for a specific book, not actually using book recommendations, because that's what happens with every electronic reader, with every electronic program that you have out there. You can plug in your reviews, you can plug in what you like, you can plug in your genre, and it will pick books that it thinks that you'll like. No, the book browser likes to find books through happenstance, through coincidence, through I like to read the books that I don't know I would like to read. I do prefer a fictional title over non-fictional because I read for entertainment, but I prefer to stay away from popular books. I prefer to stay away from books in a series. I'm not a fast reader, I'm a slow reader. I don't want to read something that's too heavy. But I got to go out and find the book. And I don't know what I'm looking for. I prefer not knowing what I'm looking for, so that way I can enjoy it as it is. I suppose I can ramble on more about that. I guess I don't know, but the reading experience for me is more than just about reading a book. It's about experience in finding the book, and I'm an introvert, so I don't get out much, and so forcing myself to go find something to read is important to my lifestyle. Otherwise, I'll fester in the home. I really would. And I do get motivated once I get out and start looking. But book browser, right? So question number one, question number two is how many book reader types are there, and can you name any? Well, yeah, so I did do some research. I'm just trying to find out. So I did go out and I did look this stuff up. And there is in excess of what I found, in excess of 15 different types of book readers. Now, please don't be upset with me with these titles. I didn't make these titles up. Most folks don't like to be categorized. But everybody does it. We all categorize. So anyway, this is not all 15. I think some of them, because I found them on different websites as well. Some of them, it was the same type of reader with a different name. Let's try to go through a couple of these, okay? All right. So there's the fad reader, the college reader, the binge reader, the player, the fickle reader, the repeat reader, the ebook denier, and the catharsis seeker. Now, these are just the ones that I thought were the most interesting, because some of them were just, I think there was a purpose of just categorizing them because they could. Well, that's slightly different than this, so let's just put it in its own category. So I just grabbed a couple of them because I didn't want this video to be so long. But let's go through a couple of them, right? And basically, the reason why there are so many is because I think that for every book reader type, there's an opposite matching type that's been categorized as a type. All right. So the fad reader, this is the popular book reader. This is the bestseller books. This is the known author reader. He likes to read books from specific folks that they've already received pleasurable experience from. What's the talk of the town? That's the book that I want to read. That's the fad reader. Then the college reader is the critical thinking, higher learning, and the developmental books, right? Nonfiction books, literature, literary guys, the latest speaker on the current events. This particular reader reads more for purpose and enlightenment and development than any other real reason. Now they do have a tendency. It was mentioned on most of these sites that the average reader in each of these categories aren't necessarily stuck within this category. They do read things that might drift out of their category a little bit, but 9 times out of 10, these are their strongest preferences. So the binge reader, right? Okay, so the binge reader is the reader that reads books in a series. They go after the books in a series. Now they'll read other things and you can recommend things to them, but until they finish that series, they're going to keep on going back until they finish that series. And they love to read. They get captivated, especially if it's been entertaining and they like it. Then they get stuck in that series and they want to read the series. And 9 times out of 10, it may lead them to becoming slightly faddish and going after that author. But I think the difference between that is the fact that sometimes the fad reader is popular, is a known author. So sometimes you might find a book and the author might not be very popular, not very common, and that keeps it from being you're a fad reader. I guess I don't know. I'm guessing at most of the stuff because I'm learning this stuff as when I found out. Well, I already identified as a browser, and the browser tag. We just did this last week. That brought some attention to how we do that. But I've always identified with wanting to look for something that I don't know what I'm looking for. And the more popular and the more common that it is, the less likely I'm going to want to read it. So the binge reader, the player. Now the player is the multitasker. The player is the reader, doesn't have a specific genre. He can read multiple titles in the same day, right? He can he doesn't even have to finish one before he's ready to go to check out the next one, right? He likes that the flood of what do you call it? Over sensory, where's my vocabulary? But anyway, the player is the reader that multitasks over several titles and even genres. Of course, the fickler is the opposite of the player, right? Specific author, specific genre, the repeat reader or the rereader. Now, you can recommend books to them, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to want to fall back to a book that they've liked before that they're going to want to reread. So that's the rereader. And then the ebook denier. These are the ones, because there are some folks that I read both. I don't know. Ebook, I consider that reading. Audiobook, don't necessarily consider that reading, but I'm not one to judge. It's no big deal to me. But I think it's just one step going into theater arts, more like, right? Part of the joy for reading a book especially one who I don't know the author's voice, when I read it, I'm reading it, physically reading it myself. I hear the characters. I determine what they sound like. I determine through the description in the book what they look like. And it's uninfluenced, which is another reason why I like to browse my books. It's uninfluenced. So my creativity is strictly off of my personal experience and how I view and envision the characters in the environment based on what the author has given me. For me, audiobooks are still entertaining. I enjoy them, but they take away from me being the creator of the envisioning, right? I'm being told what it looks like. I'm being told, not specifically, but because now that I hear the voice, if I'm reading it myself and don't know the guy's voice, I hear it one way. But if I'm hearing it through an audio tape, and I hope you guys understand this, now all of a sudden, now based on the sound of the reader's voice, the character just changed for me, right? So, maybe I'm a little picky on that. But anyway, back to the point, the ebook denier, right? The ebook denier. This is the one that just refrains from, almost as a a standpoint, right? We're going to discuss this, and I'm willing to debate. They don't want the ebook experience, but I like the convenience of the ebook. I have Kindle, and I have Libby, and I have Goodreads, and you can get books from all three of those different applications on any device that you're logged into. And I like the fact that I can put an excess amount of books, as long as it'll fit into my catalog on the device. I can load as many books as I want, and I have, instead of carrying this one hardback book that I got to lug around, I've got a ton of them on my device. And that, it has its advantage. So I'm not against e-readers, but I am a little bit more of the fickle reader. And there is a type, of course, like the opposite, right? So if there's an ebook denier, then there's the ones who prefer, who won't do the physical book, right? So there's that. And then, of course, the catharsis seeker. This is the one that is delved into feeling everything, right? Laughing, crying, sobbing, all of the every emotion they want to experience. That's how they read. Romance, love. They want to experience the emotion, and not necessarily the excitement from or the impact from. But they want the emotional connection, and so those are the ones that I picked out. There's a ton more. And like I said, for every one side or one viewpoint of the reader, there is the opposite, the exact opposite, and it has its own separate category. So I found in my research, what it was like 15, was 20, like 25. I found like 25 different. And I just stopped. Okay, this is enough. I like this one. I like that one. I like this one. Let's move on. So yes, they are categorizing the different types of readers that are out there. So who'd have thunk, right? I am a browser, and I did find it out there too. So the browser is technically the opposite of the fad reader, right? So the fad and the browser are different, are opposites. As a book browser, question number 3, as a book browser, how do you differ from the other reader types, right? And I was just saying, I believe that the fad reader and the browser are different. So for me, it's like I said, I don't like, I want my own experience. And maybe I can help share a title with folks that they wouldn't know. I get this a lot. I've never heard that title before. I get that a lot on my channel. And so I know Philip does that. Philip has mentioned that, and was it who was that said they never really did graphic novels, but there was a graphic novel I read that was about werewolves. He said like werewolf stories, and I did a book review on that. And so now he wants to read that graphic novel. So it's like, yeah, I like finding stuff that's uncommon and feeling like I done found a treasure or something. And sometimes I haven't. I'll read it and I'm like, this is, this is bad. This is real bad. But being able to share that, how bad it was, is. But I think I differ because it's not just about the reading experience. First of all, I'm not the ebook guy. I want the book in my hand. And the process that I do to find the book is it's a whole thing for me. It's a whole thing for me. So how do I differ? I lean away from fad. I lean away from electronic reading. I lean away from excessive reading. I don't want to do a lot of books in a series. I'm starting that now because they're turning out to be pretty good. Some of these are pretty good. So the Book of Ember is actually a popular series, right? I don't know how popular Kid is, which is the other series that I'm trying to get started. I haven't started it yet, but Kid is another series, 15 books in that series. And I've had two people within my neighborhood, Booktube neighborhood, that have informed me that they've read it, at least a couple of books within the series, and they really dig the guy. Julian Stockwin is the author, and so yeah, so that's pretty cool. And that was question number 3. Question number 4, and kind of the final question. I want to keep these short. I got to pick some of the questions that they give me because otherwise I'll be on here for a little bit longer, and I don't want to wear you guys out with my my yapping, yap. So number 4, how does being a browser affect your reading experiences, and what is your preferred browsing location? Okay, well, the second part of that question is really easy. I love the library, and I don't necessarily mean any library. I prefer the public library because back in the day, the library was like the place to be. It was fabulous. Always something to do. There's people there that, it was a lot busier than what you would think. The library was kind of a popular place to be. And depending on how much money that the local area has put into their public library system, we had so the main library here, the Central Library is the main library in Fort Worth, Central Library. It's in the process of moving. So right now it's pretty much, in comparison to where it was, it's currently in a closet right now. But 3 floors, 4 floors, they had music chambers, they had audio rooms where you can actually get audio books and actually you don't even have to check them out. You just pull them off the shelf and go into the little, check out one of the rooms and sit in the room and listen to it right then and there. Study rooms, it had an aquarium, it had an indoor playground for the little toddlers. They had a whole section for story time. It had the old stuff into it too. It had a card catalog system, even though it wasn't really, it was still kept up to date, hardly ever used. But just the experience. It had microfiche. The Central Library here in Fort Worth was like massive, and they planned to restore it, but they had local art, the art that was on the wall, statues and all kinds of crafts everywhere. It was just fabulous. Free coffee, free cookies, reading areas. I mean, it was just blow my mind. So the experience of being in the library and being around other folks eyeballing each other, because I like to people watch. in between, in between reading a book, right? In between the pages, you're reading it, you're just kind of like, what is he doing? Anyway, so being a browser, it affects me because I get a chance to get out of the house for one. And there are times where I literally have to convince myself, and being a part of the community helps because now I say, well, I need more material for my page. So sometimes I got to convince myself, even though I love to read, sometimes I got to convince myself to do some reading, right? Which is one of the reasons why I'm a slow reader. One of the reasons why it takes me a little bit longer to get done with some of the titles that I have for my reading list. But it greatly affects my life because I am getting out of the house. I'm experiencing. Now, I even though the library is my preferred place because I like the cataloging a little bit. So I can, I tell you, I like to, the free libraries are a lot better because they're a hodgepodge of what you're going to find. You have no clue what you're going to find at the free library. You have no clue what you're going to find at the book swap. Bookstores are cool or great, but a lot of times I'll end up window shopping. I'll find a book and I think, oh yeah, this is great. And then the book's out of my budget. And so I get disappointed. And I go in there hoping to find something, I can't take it home. So yes, I don't like the online software programs that much because of the fact that they will recommend something, the AI part about it. We'll figure it out for you. No, let me find it for myself. The experience of happenstance and finding something based off of, ooh, look at there, is part of my experience. So yeah, granted, going to the library, I'm going into the mystery section. I'm going over to the Christian fiction section. I'm going into the romance section. I'm going over into, I get that part. So there is still some, and it's based off of what the library is going to think is going to be worthy to have, because if they don't have books that get used often enough, they will cycle them out so they can make room for books that are getting more, so they have a tendency to have popular books on the shelf. And I found out too that one of the authors that I was reading, like this Harlan, I found Harlan's book at the free library. I said, that name's kind of familiar, so I looked it up and found out this guy's got a ton of, he's popular. I didn't see this title in the list, but he's popular. And so I have a tendency to come across popular guys, and I still, but there is still some suggestive input from going into the library. But I'm still more probable of being able to find an unknown title by not looking online for it. So, anyway, that is our weekly topic for the week. And so, in conclusion, we are going to refer Ryan from Reading with Ryan. He's fairly new, really new. He is a Stephen King fan, and he has a pretty long title collection from Stephen King. You got to check out one of his videos where he lists all the books that he has, and he's still in the process of collecting more Stephen King. He probably wants to own his entire library. So anyway, what I like about Ryan is he supports our troops. He is a big fan of the military, and he communicates with you. So if you get a chance to see something, you want to ask him questions, you can post a comment up there. He will reply. So Ryan, the shout outs for you for this week. And the rest of you guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope that you guys, all of you guys, keep reading.